Picture this. It's 1986. The Cold War is at its absolute peak. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a relentless race. But this race isn't just about missiles, or submarines, or spies. It's about something far more secret, something that could change our understanding of everything. They were racing for proof that humanity was not alone in the universe. And right in the middle of this silent, hidden competition was an astronaut whose name the world was never supposed to know. This is the incredible and terrifying story of the astronaut who never returned. According to all official records, absolutely nothing happened on March 12, 1986. No launch, no rocket, no crew, no mission. The day is a blank slate in the history of space exploration. But history is often written by those who want to hide the truth. Decades later, former technicians from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the heart of the Soviet space program, began to talk. Anonymously, of course. Fearing repercussions even after all those years, they admitted that there was a launch that day. A highly covert mission, codenamed Cosmos 1688. This was a flight that was never registered, never announced to the public, and systematically wiped from every accessible record. Inside the cramped capsule, there was only one man, Aleksandr Kornev. Kornev wasn't just any cosmonaut. He was a brilliant engineer who had transitioned into the space program, and he was known for two very specific things. First, his obsession with deep space radio signals. He spent his off hours poring over unexplained transmissions, convinced that somewhere out there, something was trying to communicate. And second, his willingness to accept missions that other, more cautious cosmonauts refused. He was a man driven by a thirst for discovery, no matter the risk. His mission on that fateful day was to investigate a strange, repeating signal that had been detected near Earth's orbit. This wasn't a signal that matched any known satellite, not from the Soviets, not from the Americans, not from anyone else. It didn't have the signature of any natural cosmic phenomenon either. It was artificial, precise. It pulsed with a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat echoing in the void. Kornev was being sent to be humanity's eyes and ears, to get close and find out what was making that sound. For the first 18 minutes of the mission, everything went perfectly. The launch was flawless. The telemetry data streaming back to ground control was clean. The capsule achieved a stable orbit, and Kornev reported that he was green across the board. He even confirmed that he could see the signal's origin point ahead of him. But he noted something strange. It was far, far smaller than anyone had predicted. Not a large craft, not a station, just a point of light. Then, at exactly 18 minutes and 47 seconds into the flight, everything changed. Ground control heard his voice come through their headsets, but it wasn't the calm, professional tone of a seasoned cosmonaut. It was a whisper, shaking. "I see something," he said, his breath catching. It's not metal. It's moving." The flight controllers in the bunker frantically called for him to clarify. "Cosmos 1688, clarify your last transmission. What do you see?" But Kornev didn't answer their questions. It was as if he wasn't even hearing them. Instead, he said something that has haunted the very few people who heard the live recording. He whispered, "It's looking at me." A long, heavy silence followed. The kind of silence that stretches seconds into eternities. The ground crew held their breath, their hearts pounding in their chests, and then his final words came through, strained and desperate. "Don't let it follow me back." After that, nothing. Absolute radio silence. The capsule's transponder was still active, its telemetry still streaming data, showing that life support and all systems were functioning normally. It continued its programmed orbit, a ghost ship sailing through the silent dark. But from Aleksandr Kornev, there was only silence. Immediately, emergency protocols were activated. Every tracking station across the vast Soviet Union locked onto the capsule's signal. The mission plan was simple. The capsule was supposed to orbit the Earth 3 times and then begin its re-entry sequence for a soft landing. But on its second orbit, something impossible happened. The capsule changed course. This wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't an engine misfire or simple orbital drift. The telemetry showed a controlled, deliberate acceleration. It was a smooth, calculated burn, pushing the capsule away from Earth, as if it were being gently but firmly pulled by an invisible force. The engineers and mission controllers in the bunker could only watch in helpless horror as the tiny dot representing Kornev's capsule veered off its path and headed out into deep space far beyond any hope of rescue or recovery. Officially, the mission never existed. Unofficially, every single person in that control room was taken aside, debriefed, and forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, binding them to absolute silence for the rest of their lives under penalty of treason. Aleksandr Kornev was officially declared dead in a tragic training accident. His family was given a sealed casket and a story about a sudden fatal heart attack during a routine simulation. The state buried its hero and its secret at the same time. And for years, that seemed to be the end of the story. But secrets have a way of surfacing. In 1993, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the archives of the KGB and the Soviet military became a chaotic free-for-all. Classified files were leaked, sold, and smuggled to the West. Among the mountains of documents was a small, unassuming audio tape. It was labeled simply, "Recording Object Contact Kornev." This tape contained the last 30 seconds of his transmission. At first, it seemed to be the same horrifying audio that the mission controllers had heard. The whisper, "It's looking at me," and the final, desperate plea, "Don't let it follow me back." But this tape was different. It contained a few extra seconds that had been cut from the official internal report. Just after Kornev's final words, as the transmission was cutting out, there was another sound. A faint, metallic electronic echo. It sounded like another voice, attempting to mimic his, a second voice, almost human but not quite. And it repeated a single word from Kornev's last sentence. It said, "Back." For decades, experts have analyzed this tiny fragment of audio. Skeptics argue it's just radio interference, a common phenomenon in space communication. Others suggest it's a form of audio corruption from the old magnetic tape, but a persistent group of analysts, including some former intelligence officers, believe something else. They believe something intelligent approached Kornev's capsule. Something that heard him, understood him, and tried to communicate in the only way it knew how, by mimicking his own voice. Something that didn't want to be discovered by the world below, and the story gets even stranger. Fast forward to 2012. NASA astronomers, using a powerful deep space survey telescope, detected a small, unidentified object orbiting at the extreme outer edge of our solar system, out past Neptune. It was tumbling slowly through the void. When they managed to get a clearer image, they were stunned. The object's shape resembled an early Soviet Vostok or Soyuz-style capsule, but it was heavily damaged. The hull was twisted and scarred, and it seemed to be partially fused with a strange, non-reflective alloy that didn't match any known material. But strangest of all was the signal. Instruments picked up a faint, repeating transmission coming from inside the derelict craft. When they analyzed the pattern, they realized it was a perfect match for the mysterious, heartbeat-like pulse that Aleksandr Kornev had been sent to investigate all the way back in 1986. NASA never released an official statement about the discovery, but an internal file, inevitably leaked to the public through online forums, was titled with two simple words, Object KK for Kornev. So what really happened to Aleksandr Kornev? The truth is, we may never know, but three dominant theories have emerged from the shadows of this decades-old mystery. The first, and most chilling, is that he encountered an unknown non-terrestrial life form, something that was able to disable his communications, mimic his voice, and take control of his capsule, pulling him into the depths of space. The second theory is that the signal wasn't a call for us for humanity. It was a beacon, specifically calling for him. Perhaps his obsession with deep space signals wasn't a coincidence. Perhaps something was trying to contact him personally, and the mission was simply the final step in its plan. And the third, most speculative theory, is that Kornev never died. Some believe that he is still out there, drifting through the solar system with the object that took him. Whether he is alive, or in some state we can't comprehend, no one knows. One thing is certain, the capsule that launched in secret on March 12, 1986, never came back. Its pilot was erased from history, and whatever it was that he met in the lonely orbit above our world, may still be out there watching, waiting, listening. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating and unsettling as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries. We'll see you in the next video.